Don't chase titles, chase exposure. Realize what's working behind the scene. Think you need to understand, how business works. Even with the marketing, you can learn meta ads in 1 hour, but understanding the PNL can change your life. When you think about Saudi is very fast paced, raw, Snapchat, influencers, very bold marketing works over there. When you think about UAE, it's always different. It's more about story, identity. We don't pay for reach, we pay for transfer of trust. Ads don't grow brands. I feel it's the human behavior.
I'm thrilled to welcome Yavar Khan to the Marketing Bytes. Marketing today is not just about performance or brands, it is about building ecosystems where every touchpoint connects. Our guest today has mastered that balance. From running performance campaigns for global fashion and beauty brands to leading homegrown names like Kadi, Wefold, Masafi, and more, he has seen it all. Influencer collaborations, e-commerce, strategy, and business leadership. What's even more interesting is how he has shaped those brands to truly speak to the Emirati consumer, understanding what connects and what converts. I'm thrilled to welcome Yavar Khan to the Marketing Bytes. Hi Yavar, welcome to the show and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, and thank you so much, G.
Great, so without further ado, let's get started.
For sure.
So Yavar, let's start from the beginning. How did it all start? What was the young Yavar like? And how has this entire experience shaped your career into doing what you're doing today?
Honestly, I was very curious but impatient. I wanted to know, let's say, for example, my family used to shop from one store. I was very curious why buying from the same store, because there are other stores providing the same product. So I was very curious about that. I wanted to learn, what builds customer loyalty. So I did a lot of experiments and I failed. Also, I remember my first job was more about calling customers, okay? So I was very curious when you call them out, what makes them take action. So for me, marketing wasn't all about, ads. It's about, for me, it was an obsession about human behavior, what makes them take action.
Right. So this really has been like a game changer for you in the sense that you had your first experiences of having to experiment, do your little internships as well on the side. In a way, it has shaped your career in that way, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically starting from the scratch, building your foundations, and then going up the ladder.
Yes.
Right. Looking at your journey 10 years ago, you were managing or rather doing marketing for leading global fashion and beauty brands, and today you're managing the P&L of an entire e-commerce business. I think that is really massive. If you had to pick a skill or a lesson that you can take away from this experience, what would it be?
So in early on, I've realized marketing in isolation doesn't work, right? Everything works in synchronization, where you say logistics, call center. So everything is in sync. So once you think as a whole system, then it fuels the company. And that's one thing which I've learned.
Right. So back in your university days, maybe the first few internships that you did, was there a moment where you said, this is what real marketing feels like?
Yes, my first marketing internship. I did my first campaign. I thought the copy is very clever. The creative is really good. We did a lot of competition analysis. I thought we created the best campaign. But at the end, the sales guy said, how many leads did we get? Then it clicked me. Then I realized, what goes behind the marketing campaigns. What's the human behavior? So
Right.
pretty ads don't grow brands. I feel it's the human behavior.
So did that really help you change the way you looked at this field of marketing?
Yeah, so when you think marketing in a silo does not work at all, you need to think overall picture and what effect does it have.
Even out of the box sometimes, right?
Yes.
Right. Yavar, I want to know a little bit more about the Khadi, Wefold, and Masafi story. You're now leading Khadi and Wefold as a brand. And for people who don't really know, can you walk us through what these brands stand for and how do they fit into the group's vision?
So when you think about Kadi and Wefold, they're completely different businesses. Okay, so Wefold is more about luxury home decor, floral arrangements, and we do a lot of events. And when you think about Wefold, it's again abayas. So basically, abayas are for people in the Gulf countries. they wear clothing.
Yeah.
So on top of that, they wear abaya. So that's what Wearful is about. But when you think about it, they are two completely separate businesses, but the DNA is the same. Okay, we sell lifestyle. So when you think about it, we don't. So for Khadi, we don't sell trays. We sell a lifestyle. We give them the moment. We give them when we ship them the products, how they feel about it. Okay, what's like we share the lifestyle.
Yeah.
So we don't sell products. We sell
You
rituals.
sell an experience.
Experience.
Yeah, right. Yavar, you're wearing many hats. You're managing planning, buying, warehouse operations, marketing, e-commerce. Now that is basically running the entire show. Help me understand that how are all these functions connected? And if one thing shifts, what happens to the rest?
So for me, the philosophy is marketing makes the promise and operation keeps it. So we always make sure everything is aligned where it comes to logistics, delivery, call center, everything is a node in an ecosystem. So rather than we fighting with each other, if we align, everything works great.
So bringing everything together in alignment is the key to the
Yes.
success of this. I understand. Going from marketing to owning the entire P&L of a business, that is a huge thing. What decisions are you making now that maybe did not cross your mind earlier on, and how has that changed your perspective?
Yeah. So when you run the whole PNL, you don't think just about ROI. Now what I think is about profit per order. What can we do? So for example, let's say should we pay an influencer X amount of money, or should we to increase the average order value? Should we do bundles or faster shipping or provide free shipping? So in terms when you manage the whole PNL, rather than checking the ROI, you check profit per order.
Right, so it's more based on the profits because that's how businesses function, and that
Yes.
is the success of that is the ROI for your
Yeah.
business. Okay, let's zoom into your audience for brands like Khadi and Wearfold, because I think this is where the most fascinating part of the market is, your Emirati customer. How different is this customer from the regular expat audience?
So when you think about an Emirati customer or local customers, they don't buy products, they buy belongings. When you think about expats, they buy a service. So for us, that happiness moment. So for me, it's going to be once they receive the product, what's the feeling once they open the box? So they always buy belonging. It's always about identity alignment.
It's also about lifestyle, like they're purchasing a lifestyle or an experience, right?
Yes.
Or is it based, is the buying decision of an Emirati customer mainly based on, say, brand loyalty or brand trust, or is it something else?
Trust is always the initial part. It's just about their identity. So for us, when you check Kadi or Wearful, we never advertise to local or Emirati customers. The way we advertise is what's the feeling you're going to get, what's the lifestyle. So when you gift our products, what's the customer going to get once he opens the box?
Box, right. So when you're now marketing for the Emirati customer or the consumer, what kind of insights really guide your storytelling? Is it leaning more towards local culture, maybe like a sense of community, or is it maybe just an aspirational lifestyle?
So I would say it's a mix of both. Okay, when you start literally targeting one demographic, it will never work, right? So obviously we do a lot of experiments, we learn from it, and it's a mix of both.
A story or an experience that you remember of having marketed to an Emirati customer that you can think of, or like share that experience with us?
Yeah, so there's so many instances, and obviously a lot of people don't know about. There are special Emirati events or festivals. One of them is Hegel Leila. Again, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but it's more about kids. It's a festival before Ramadan where the kids they dress up nicely, they go to their neighbors, they ask for sweets. It's more about culture. So obviously we do celebrate that there's Emirati Women's National Day. So there's secret I can say treats which we do on our website, and we send email about it, and that's what our people love about. That's what our customers love
Right,
about
so
us.
that's really keeping them engaged, and
Yes.
they keep coming back to these brands because they feel very much at home
Yeah,
through Khadi and
yeah. So
Wearfold.
it's more about identity alignment where they understand that they know this brand understands our culture.
Right. Yeah, but I would like to get some insights on this multi market performance strategy that you've been managing so well. Now, you've run campaigns across so many different Gulf countries, like the UAE, KSA, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi. That is a huge mix of audiences and dynamics. Where do you even start your planning when you're looking at something of that scale?
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite topics to do because we have learned a lot. What we do is called as market mapping. Okay, so what it does is when you think about Saudi is very fast paced, raw, Snapchat, influencers, very bold marketing works over there.
Yeah.
When you think about UAE, it's always different. It's more about story, identity, very classic, chic. So there's always, we always do that truth mapping where what works where. So this is we have learned the hard way. And again, obviously, it's more about experience and learning. And every brand would be different, but that's what we always do is called market truth mapping.
Right. So, from a performance marketing standpoint, how do you evaluate success across such diverse markets?
So I would say ROAS is too flat. What we do is we measure with 3 A's. Okay, something which is our internal, but which I can go ahead and explain you.
Would love to.
Where it's action, attachment, and attention. So
Okay.
first thing is what about action? When you do a marketing campaign, what action does the customer do? Then attention is did we catch his attention? Did he buy from us? And then what attachment? So the real success lies in attachment. Where will the customer come back?
Oh, that's a nice one. The 3A policy.
Yeah.
Perfect. You've been managing e-com ops and strategy for many years, and I think you're very passionate about that. I'd like to know a little bit more about that. This is apart from all of the performance marketing, your events, your influencer marketing that you do. This is really huge because you're basically managing the entire thing. How do you even start with it? How do you manage all of that at once?
So the answer to this is very simple. Take it as only one thing. Okay, so for me, it's one flow: campaign, click, delivery, repeat. So I just take it as one. So when you think about it as one, everything works together and aligns.
All right. Talking about e commerce, what is very exciting about this role for you?
Yeah. So this would sound very strange, but for me, it's always demand design, which means what is the experience once the customer receives the product, right? That first 30 seconds of silence,
Yeah.
that makes me excited.
Right. And what are some of the challenges that you think are part of this role?
So when you think about challenges, challenges are a lot, right? But the most important thing is how you overcome it. Okay, you don't have to take stress. Step by step approach where there are a lot of things which are not working in a company when you join, right? How you can fix it without causing any issues or any disruption.
Right. You also oversee warehouse management, which I think most marketers do not want to touch. How does understanding that side, which is all of your logistics and fulfillment, really change the way in which you think about marketing?
Yeah. So when you come from a marketing background, right, you always think about the dream campaign, the dream ROI, right? But you need to come into reality, right? If your capacity of your warehouse is, let's say, for example, 300 orders per day, right, and your campaign can go up to 500, you need to get a reality check.
Yeah.
And for us, we have a policy in place. If warehouse cannot support, let's say, 500 orders, we do not go beyond that.
Right. So
So-
basically, your campaign planning and buying decisions are based on the capacity and delivery
Exactly.
of the warehouse.
Yes.
Right. Let's delve into the glamorous world of influencer and influencer marketing, something that I think you're also very passionate
Yeah.
about. Now, this must be like a real investment for you, right? When you're collaborating with an influencer partner, how do you figure out if their authenticity is even worth the money?
Yeah, so I have one rule, right? We don't pay for reach, we pay for transfer of trust. So when you look at an influencer, I check comment quality. And the way we think about influencers is are they selling or are they giving as a piece of advice to their followers or to their family members?
Right. So it's more about, again, what kind of experiences they are giving out to their customers through their own advices and their
Yeah.
experiences.
And it should not sound like a sales pitch. I feel they should recommend, like imagine they're recommending something to their family. That's how they should recommend.
Right. So 3 years from now, say 5 years from now, where do you see the the success of Kadi and Wearfold? I'm not just referring to numbers, but what kind of experiences are you trying to build? What do you want customers to say and think about these brands?
So, next 3 years from now, what I feel is rather than we selling products, I feel it should be part of their life rather than this telling us that they want to order flowers or they want to order home decor. They should say, let's order Kadi. Same thing with Wearful as well. Rather than buying a specific brand or clothing, the customers need to say that let's order from Wearful.
So you want the brand to be known more than anything else.
I want them to be the part of their life where they're using it day to day without even noticing it.
So for someone who's thinking about getting into the whole e-commerce business, especially in this region, what do you think is a missed opportunity for them? Have they overlooked something, or is there something that can fill the gap for them?
Yeah, so one thing which I've seen is everyone is running for acquisition right now. Okay, they need to run behind micro loyalty loops, which means how human experience can you get from that customer, right? Building relationships. I know at this time of stage where everyone's running behind AI, everything is automated, but at the end, what emotions, what human connections you can do with your customers, I feel that's what we are missing. There are a lot of missed opportunities. One of them is, try-ons, whether it be augmented reality for home decor items where you can use your phone and you can see the furniture, how it looks, or even with clothing where, you can virtual try-ons where you can see how the clothing looks, and even with sunglasses. So this is more on the tech part where, there's a missed opportunity, but on the emotion side, when you think about it, how you can build really good customer relationship. And there are times for Kadi, we still don't use AI, we still use personal WhatsApp. I know when you think about finances, it's not great, but building human connection is. So if there's abandoned checkouts, our sales team, they just go and message the customer like, you might have forgot this card, you might have issues. And this is what, makes the customer feel special. That someone is always there to help him out.
Right, there's always someone watching your back in a very personalized manner.
Yes.
So it's time for my favorite section, which is the rapid fire. You can just say the first thing that comes to your mind. Are you ready for the ride?
For sure, let's go.
All right. Instagram or TikTok?
I would say Instagram for identity, TikTok for energy.
Okay. Email or WhatsApp for work?
WhatsApp, faster communication.
Superb. Online shopping or shopping in store?
I would say online for faster delivery, shopping for more hands-on experience.
So we're all into fast.
Yeah.
Your go-to source for marketing trends?
I would say before marketing, it's people.
Okay. The most underrated marketing skill according to you?
Communication and very good listening.
One influencer you would love to work with?
I would say someone who builds community rather than content.
Okay, nice. Dubai's e-commerce scene in one word?
Momentum.
Okay. A movie or book that has been truly inspiring?
So the book I would say 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, and movie would be Fight Club.
Oh, nice. I like that as well.
Yeah.
Your go-to way to unwind after a busy week?
Running errands with my daughter.
Oh, nice. Yavar, this has been an amazing conversation. I love the way in which you actually broke down all the elements for marketing and leadership, and I'm sure there's people going to be able to take a lot away from this episode. But before we wrap, there is one question I'd like to ask you. For someone who aspires to get into a larger leadership role someday, what is that one thing that they need to do today in order to move towards that step?
So I would say there's one thing which I've learned in my life is start taking ownership rather than waiting for authority, right? Or imagine let's say you're working for someone, okay? Think of it as your business.
As your own baby.
Yes. So even let's say, for example, I feel any business I join, I take it as my own business. Even I would not let one dirham go on loss. So I would always say, start taking ownership rather than waiting for authority.
Perfect. I love that. I really appreciate you having taken the time out to spend with us for this episode. And I cannot wait to see where you take Kadi and Wearfold in the future. Thank you once again for being here, Yavar.
Likewise, and thank you for having me here.
Okay, and to everyone listening, keep pushing boundaries, keep asking questions, and see you on the next episode of the Marketing Bytes. Plug in, power up, press play.